There's a difference between being an older guy who turns heads and one who makes women inwardly cringe. You've seen both types, the silver-haired guy at the bar with a quiet confidence, effortlessly drawing younger women into his orbit, and then there's the other type, the one trying too hard, the one who doesn't know he's embarrassing himself. This isn't about looks. It's never just about looks. It's about presence, energy, and self-awareness. Because nothing turns a younger woman off faster than an older man who acts the way he thinks she wants him to act rather than owning who he actually is. So, if you've ever wondered why younger women seem interested at first but then quickly pull away, chances are you're making one of these 7 mistakes. And the worst part? You might not even realize it. If you want to better reflect your Stoic spirit, you can get your own wallpapers from the link in the description. Are you new at this channel? Please subscribe and leave a comment. I think you liked the video. If you please hit the like button. Let's get into it. Habit 1. Trying to act young instead of owning your age. Nothing repels a younger woman faster than an older guy desperately clinging to youth. You know the type, wearing sneakers meant for teenagers, talking in slang that expired 5 years ago, bringing up TikTok trends like he's keeping up, when in reality, he's just copying what he saw on some list about how to relate to Gen Z. Here's the thing, you're not 25. And that's okay. Actually, it's more than okay, it's your advantage. Because younger women aren't with older men because they want another version of a 25-year-old. They want the things younger guys can't give them: stability, experience, depth, a sense of knowing who the hell you are. But when you try to mimic youth, you lose the very thing that makes you attractive in the first place: the uncool of trying too hard. Imagine you walk into a bar. There's a guy in his 40s wearing a backward cap, an oversized hoodie, sneakers that cost more than his rent, and he's saying things like, "No cap, F, far." How does that look? Not young. Not cool. Just off. There's a reason Sean Connery was still pulling attention in his 60s. He wasn't out here pretending to be in his 20s. He was owning his age and making it look damn good. A man who embraces his age commands respect. A man who fights it looks desperate. The right way to do it. You want to be attractive as an older man? Stop trying to be younger. Start being better. Instead of chasing trends, master timeless style. Instead of learning Gen Z slang, be articulate. Words well spoken hit harder than any trendy phrase. Instead of forcing yourself into young spaces, cultivate your own space so that younger people are drawn to you. Because at the end of the day, women, especially younger ones, don't want a man still trying to figure himself out. They want a man who knows exactly who he is. Habit 2. Flexing your money in a way that screams insecurity. Let's be real, money is attractive. It signals success, capability, and stability, but the moment you start flaunting it, you turn it into a repellent. Younger women don't hate that older guys have money. They hate when older guys think money is the only thing they bring to the table. There's a difference between being a man who has wealth and a man who uses wealth to cover up insecurity. And trust me, women can smell that difference from a mile away. How it looks when it's done wrong. Picture this: a guy in his late 40s is on a date with a younger woman. Within the first 10 minutes, he's name-dropping expensive restaurants, talking about his Porsche, mentioning how much his watch costs. She nods, smiles politely, but inside, she's completely turned off because she's not seeing a confident man. She's seeing a man who's screaming, "Please let me impress you." A truly successful man doesn't feel the need to constantly prove he's successful. He lets his presence, his lifestyle, and his self-assurance speak for itself. A rich man who needs you to know he's rich is poorer than he realizes. Habit 3. Complaining about modern women like it's a personality trait. If there's one thing that will make a younger woman lose interest instantly, it's an older guy who sounds bitter about the dating world. You know the type, always talking about how women today are entitled. Back in my day, women were different. Social media has ruined everything. Listen, some of that might be true. The world has changed. But the moment you start ranting about it, You put yourself in the same category as the guy at the bar screaming about how music was better in the 80s. It doesn't make you sound wise. It makes you sound old. Why it's so unattractive when you complain about women. You're telling them 3 things: you feel powerless in dating, you have unresolved resentment, you don't adapt, you just blame. And there's nothing less attractive than a man who blames the world instead of figuring out how to thrive in it. Younger women don't hate older men, but they hate older men who act like victims. Habit 4, being overly possessive and controlling. There's a saying, the tighter you hold on to something, the faster it slips through your fingers. Nowhere is this true than in relationships. Younger women don't hate older men, but they hate older men who treat them like property. A confident man makes her feel wanted. A possessive man makes her feel trapped. And the worst part? Most men don't even realize they're doing it. At first, it seems like caring. Text me when you get there. Who are you going out with? You're wearing that? But slowly, it becomes control. Why didn't you answer my call immediately? I don't like you hanging out with those friends. I don't trust guys around you. And just like that, what started as attraction turns into suffocation. Because here's the hard truth, no woman, especially a younger one, wants to feel like she's in a cage. Habit 5, talking down to her like she's a kid. One of the worst mistakes older men make is that they stop being attractive and start being condescending. It happens so easily, they don't even notice it. They assume that because they have more life experience, they have the right to constantly correct her, explain things, and tell her how the world really works. And guess what? Nothing dries up attraction faster. How does this look in real life? Imagine a young woman excitedly telling her older boyfriend about something she just learned. Maybe it's a new book, an interesting fact, or something she's passionate about. Now, watch how the wrong kind of man responds. Oh, that's cute, you just figured that out. Yeah, I've known that for years. Trust me, you don't really get how that works yet. It's subtle, but it kills attraction instantly. Why? Because instead of engaging with her, he's belittling her. Women, especially younger women, don't want to be lectured, they want to be heard. Older men sometimes believe their value in a relationship comes from being the wise teacher. And while there's nothing wrong with sharing knowledge, the way you do it determines everything. You can either be the older man who makes her feel stupid or the older man who makes her feel inspired. One will push her away, the other will draw her in. Habit 6, dressing like you've given up on life. Let's be brutally honest, attraction is visual. It doesn't matter how intelligent, successful, or charismatic you are, if you look like you've just rolled out of bed, you're already at a disadvantage. Many older men fall into this trap. Somewhere along the way, they stop caring about how they look. They tell themselves, I'm too old to dress stylishly, I don't have anyone to impress. If a woman really likes me, she'll like me for who I am. But here's the cold, hard truth, women are wired to be attracted to men who take care of themselves. You don't need to dress like a 25-year-old influencer, and you don't need to chase trends. But if you look like you've given up, she's not going to be into you. Why does this happen? Men, especially older men, sometimes develop a false sense of security. Maybe they've had a long-term relationship or marriage where they didn't have to try, or maybe they've reached a level of success where they think their status is enough, maybe they just got comfortable. But comfort is the enemy of attraction. When a woman sees a man who looks like he doesn't put in effort, she doesn't think, oh, he must be a deep thinker who doesn't care about material things. No, she thinks, if this is how little effort he puts into himself, how little effort is he going to put into me? And once she has that thought, it's over. The difference between old and distinguished. Here's something most men don't realize. Women love older men, but they hate men who look like they've stopped trying. Look at George Clooney, Idris Elba, or Pierce Brosnan. These men aren't young, but they own their age with style. They don't try to look 20, they dress like men who respect themselves, and that's the key, self-respect. Habit 7, acting like you know everything. There's nothing worse than a man who thinks he's the smartest person in the room. Older men often do this without even realizing it. They've lived longer, seen more, experienced more, and they assume that gives them the right to lecture younger women on everything. But here's the thing, women don't want a professor, they want a partner. Consider the fine line between confidence and condescension. Let's say you're on a date, and she's talking about something she's excited about, maybe a book, a new business idea, or even just a hobby. An attractive older man listens, engages, and encourages her passion. But the man who ruins it does this. Actually, that's not how it works. You're too young to really understand this. Let me explain it to you the right way. In his head, he's just being helpful, but to her, he's being condescending. Why is this so unattractive? When a man constantly corrects a woman or acts like her thoughts are invalid, it sends one message loud and clear: I don't respect your mind. And no woman, no matter her age, wants to feel that way. There's nothing wrong with being an older man dating a younger woman. In fact, when done right, it can be one of the most exciting and fulfilling relationships out there. But if you make these mistakes, if you act controlling, insecure, condescending, or like you've given up on yourself, you're setting yourself up for failure. You don't have to be young to be attractive, you just have to be a man who values himself, a man who gives her space instead of suffocating her, who listens instead of lecturing, who stays sharp instead of letting himself go. Because when you embody those traits, it doesn't matter if you're 40, 50, or 60, women will be drawn to you. In conclusion, the essence of cultivating attraction as an older man lies in embracing who you are rather than attempting to recapture youth. Authenticity stands at the forefront, owning your age, your experiences, and your style naturally commands respect and creates a magnetic presence that resonates with younger women. Instead of resorting to shortcuts like mimicking youthful trends, flaunting wealth, or lamenting the state of modern dating, focus on refining qualities that have stood the test of time: confidence, self-awareness, and genuine self-respect. By avoiding behaviors that diminish your attractiveness, whether it's the pitfalls of overcompensation, controlling tendencies, or condescension, you create an environment where mutual respect and meaningful connection can flourish. This approach not only sets you apart from the cliché of the desperate older man, but also aligns with the timeless appeal of a man who is secure in his identity. Ultimately, the goal is to cultivate a dynamic where both partners feel valued and understood, a relationship built on substance rather than superficial impressions.